Hello and welcome, DCL fans. Today we're doing some more fantasy pick'em stuff, and yeah, let me just link the stream to the places. My Discord server is linked down below if you want to catch all these streams live, all that stuff. This thumbnail, I'm pretty happy with this. This is pretty funny. What's up, Jared? Let's put it here. Bang. All right. You just want to change my name to Ghost on YouTube? It's Cinema. Yeah, it's pretty good. What's up, Ghost? So, kind of want to get through this somewhat quickly, so just gonna hop right into it, I think. But yeah, if you guys are unaware of the fantasy stuff, links are all down in the description. You'll see links to the fantasy doc with a leaderboard and all that stuff, and roster submission form is right here. All that stuff, rules, etc. But today we're gonna be looking at some Preds, making some picks, and hopefully I will not go 1-7 again. But is what it is. All right. So the first series we're going to go over is the Foxes versus Judgment. Probably the two strongest teams in the tournament right now, going head to head, so should be an absolute banger. Bias picks are up to 12th place. No 1-7 this time, please. I'm trying my best. I really am. So this series should be an absolute banger. I expect this to be back and forth, maybe ending in a draw, maybe a 5-3. Probably not going to be a blowout, let's be real. So Genius X versus Lucas. We could start off in the top left, and we have the double elephant versus just like a very solid, like bulky, like balanced team. So here's what I always look at for this this Tusk Treads team throughout the whole season. That was the ground type matchup, and it looks like Corv, Rotom, Torn, Tinglu checks the treads pretty well. Then you have Dragonite as well, which like Ice Spinner on both of these guys is fine, but that Corviknight gonna be a real issue. Maybe like a Volt Switch treads can get through it a little bit, but what do you have to punish the Corv, right? What's actually punishing Corv on this team? It seems like everything loses a Corv, so it's probably gonna be like a Terra Electric Tusk or something to like snipe the Corv. Maybe maybe Terra Fire with like EQ Temper Flare type stuff. I really like Zing's team. It looks, Hearth looks amazing. Yeah, I think this is one pretty cool team. But yeah, I think this is just a team quality gap. Like this one, very much meme. You have to rely on some surprise factor to get through like the bulk, and I think that Genius is just gonna have this one low key. What's up, Agency? How's it going? This looks really rough for Lucas. I'm not gonna lie. Like, maybe Iron Bundle could do something, but there's an AV Torn, potential AV Pex as well. Both pretty reasonable switch-ins. Spidef Corv is able to take any 2 hits that are not Specs Hydro Pump. So yeah. What stops Hearthflame after a Trailblaze? Not much. Like, it's just a lot of threats for Genius and not a lot of threats for Lucas. Double Elephant into foreground immunes, exactly what I was just saying. But I think this one quite handily goes to Genius X. Better player, better matchup, all that stuff. Now we have Undead versus Lax. Right, Lax using this refurbished team. Undead using the like Aura Farm kind of like Pincurchin plus Paradox Mons. Let's see. So there is like Metagross for the Valiant, which is not bad. Trap Ghost as an emergency button is like really valuable into teams like this. Roaring Moon, maybe with a Scarf, could be like a solid revenge killer to all of these guys. Yeah, I do kind of like Scarf Moon or like Booster Speed, maybe. I think Scarf though. I think Scarf makes a lot of sense just to revenge kill everything. Like you're not really scared of Vacuum Wave Valiant because it has such good natural bulk. Like Scarf with like Knock U-Turn, Iron Head, and like Earthquake or Outrage or something like that. Seems pretty reasonable. I wonder if Undead's gonna do the thing that that I've seen pretty often, which is Terra Ghost Iron Moth to kind of spin block to Terapagos. And then there's no other removal on Lax's team, so like that Samurott spikes are going to stay up forever. And that's going to be really annoying for that Roaring Moon, for the Metagross, these things switching into Valiant and stuff. So like, I don't know, I feel like seems pretty reasonable. Who dare at me? Okay. AV Moon is good into that Ghost Moth angle, to be fair. Sure. But like if you're AV Moon, you're not Scarf. And also you can get hit by like Dazzling Gleam, and the Iron Moth could definitely be Terra Fairy in this matchup. Like Fairy for Hydrapple, Fairy for Roaring Moon, it makes a lot of sense as well. You can't say it's going to be Ghost 100%, you know? Let's see. Hard to prep for every moth. Yeah, it really is. Maybe it's like a AV Hydrapple to kind of check the Crown, the Moth, and the Valiant all in one clean little package. What would your Terra type be for that? Maybe, would you go Terra Poison and then use Metagross as the Crown check? That could be pretty reasonable as well. I wouldn't hate that. Maybe you go like a neutral Terra? Actually, Terra Fire with like Spidef Boots kind of looks really good for the Hydrapple, right? Because then you get Terra Blast coverage into Crown. Terra Rock? I don't think that's quite what we're looking for. Okay, but Terra Fire Hydrapple does look pretty reasonable. You are like weakening yourself up to the Lando and the Samurott a little bit, but the upside is there for sure. And Rotom kind of checks the Lando to some degree, although maybe not the most reliable thing because Crunch does exist. So maybe you do kind of need the Hydrapple to beat the Lando, but you have your own Lando, so maybe this Lando's Rocky Helmet to enable a Fire Hydrapple. I could see that. What's Undead's way through this team? I mean, it is just Spike Stack and then block the spin, maybe? What is Blood yapping about? I'm just yapping, man. Can a guy yap? Would you bring Pincurchin here? I feel like the Pincurchin is pretty nice for the Valiant specifically, because you can get that speed boost on a Life Orb set, and all of a sudden, it's looking really, really hard for Lax to deal with. Rotom probably bench, to be fair, for Helmet Quill. To like trade into Samurott maybe? Like exchange spikes? I could see it. But maybe Undead sees that and just brings the Tatsugiri in that 6th slot to like spin. Could be. What else we do about Samu? I mean, I don't know. I really don't. Probably boot spam? Yeah, it probably is. I don't know, in terms of like a prediction here, I'll probably go for Lax, but I'm not super confident about that. Like, it could go either way. Right, Soggy Doggy Sage versus Agency His Own. Now, I did actually mock Agency for this. We did a little trade, and yeah, so I'm predicting Sage, basically. No, I'm joking. But like, yeah. Arg. Agency has matchup 100%. Yeah, I do think that Keldeo is like a massive, massive threat to this team. Meowscarada is pretty good as well, right? You have to kind of bring the Skuntank as like a Rocky Helmet guy. Sage's team is so weird looking. I mean, that's most Sage teams, let's be real. I thought you should try to get a good fantasy weekend. I've heard it does wonders. I'm trying my best out here, okay? Look. Skuntank and Terra Lapras or Pick versus Keldeo? I mean, that is what I brought in the mock. You're winning, GG's next. Yeah, literally. So let's just Pred Agency because he's in my chat, and people in my chat tend to win. What can I say? Alright, now we have Ryan versus Yurdunk. Alright, let's look at the mouse hold matchup. And there's a Carbink, there's a Corviknight. Yeah, GG, bro. Can't win. There's a Pex for the Valiant. There's Reliable Defog for the Samurott. Hydrapple can't really beat Corviknight 1v1 unless it's like Terra for it, which is like all the Terras that beat Corviknight are going to be weak to Lando. So looks pretty cooked, I'm not gonna lie. Raging Bolt, massive threat. Why does Base Crown low-key cook? Does it? I guess it kinda does, but like Darkrai's always gonna be there. Lando can be like AV in this matchup. I think AV looks really sick here. Checks a bunch of guys. And then like you always get U-turn on Gliscor into what, like a Ice Beam Darkrai or something. Chips down the Samurott for later. I don't know. Seems pretty good. Matchup definitely in Ryan's favor. I'm not gonna lie. So we'll just Pred him. Let's make it 2-2 for the SV pick'ems, right? I don't know, Policy seemed okay. Policy versus what though? What's actually proccing it without putting you immediately in like Thunderclap range? Like everything does like 90 to you. Lando Earthquake, Darkrai Dark Pulse, these are strong hits, right? And you're just pretty easily revengeable. Alright. Anyways, C versus Addison. This should be a good one, right? Lando Mirror, love to see that. So could see some toxic angles from both of them. Probably just gonna see rocks. Maybe maybe a Scarf Lander from C's side would be interesting, because the ground resists on Addison's side are like somewhat lacking in the sense that Zapdos can get Stone Edged. I think you forgot to look at the mouse hold. No. That's the first thing I looked at, and there's a whole ass Corviknight. I'm waffling, bro. Forgot Body Press didn't activate it. I'm stupid. Look, it can happen to anyone. So maybe the Jellicent is kind of forced to come here for the Cinderace, because otherwise, what are you supposed to do as C? Maybe Fizdef into Hillego, but Zen Headbutt does exist and will 2-hit KO. But I don't know if you even bring Zen Headbutt, to be honest. Like Pyro Ball U-turn, maybe you bring... you kind of do just kind of fit Zen pretty easily on the Cinderace, actually. Hillego T-Spike GG. Yeah, it does look pretty good. Adrenaline Orb SD Lando T wins for C. Does it now? It's just gonna get toxic by the opposing Lando, no? I don't know. Banded Zygarde looks swag. Well, fortunately there's no Zygarde in either one of these teams, so we don't have to worry about that right now. I mean, the Latios looks pretty bad into Jirachi Primarina. Like, you don't expect that to do too much. Oh, this is Zygarde 10%. Baby dog form. I am getting old. My bad. Does Zydog do anything? Zydog in the pot. I get it now, I get it. I'm sorry. But I mean, it is just checked by this Lando T. So maybe this Lando T just runs like leftovers Fizdef, and then the Lando T and the Zygarde are completely invalidated. I mean, it seems pretty free for Addison's side to check those guys with Lando. And once it does finally like CB arrows through that, which is going to be like multiple switch-ins, then after that you still have Cinderace is faster, you have Zapdos will live any hit, Primarina will live, Pangoro lives, Gastrodon lives, Peasy probably lives. Although Peasy is not coming this week, I'll say it. If it does, I'd be surprised. Are you proud of me? I just won an Apex game. I'm so proud of you. I've never played Apex in my life. Kind of the goat at everything now. Everything is a big word there. But hey, you the goat. 1000 Arrows kills the Lando and then sees Lando owns. Maybe you could do that as like a ground spam angle. I could see it, but also like, who are you benching to fit Zydog? Because I think you need the Jellicent for the Cinderace. Otherwise it becomes really challenging, I think. And then, like, what? Are you going to bench the Sylveon? You could bench the Sylveon. Bench Lottie. Yeah, probably bench Lottie and Sylveon if I had to guess. If you were trying to fit the dog. But yeah. And then Addison on the other side, what's the major problems or like threats? I mean, if there's no Sylveon, Pangoro kind of goes in. So there is that. And even if there is a Sylveon, you could be like NASCAR gunk shot and all that stuff. I think the Jirachi generally just looks very annoying. I mean, as usual, right? Who wants to switch into Body Slam? There's a Jellicent. That'll cover any physical set, but like special sets maybe with like T-Bolt to cover these two. Icy Wind for the Lando and Zydog. Maybe Shukaberry, lure one of those. I mean, that looks pretty free. And then what? Maybe run Moonblast for Scrafty, and then Psyshock for Nihilego. That honestly looks like a really nice set for Jirachi, just 4 attacks. Kind of trades favorably into all 8 Pokemon, so you could be like Shukaberry, Weakness Policy, anything really. Could be Meteor Beam as well, just to get that boost and start hitting things. Maybe drop a coverage move for that. I don't know. Who's gonna win though? This one's tough, right? 2 players having a good season so far. Will this be C's first loss? I feel like it low-key might be. Yeah, I'm gonna say Addison wins this one, and C takes her first loss. Favorite C, but Addy clovers it out? Yup, exactly. I mean, there's a Zapdos Jirachi. Surely some clovers are in order. I'd give it to Addy, totally not biased. Yeah, of course, of course. Then we have Violet River versus Tech Froakies. This is Jake. I feel like matchup favors Addison. It's close anyways. Like, both sides have some threats and then some, like, nice defensive pieces. But yeah, I'm just gonna pred Addison. So, now onto Sun and Moon for this series. So this Chomp does look pretty good. Maybe it necessitates a Grand Bull bring. Because I don't know what else you're really supposed to do into that. Maybe pivot into a Scarf Ice Metagross? Like, I don't know. Maybe Rotom can live a... like, pivot in Choice Scarf, Wisp, or HP Ice. But, like, the Chomp counterplay looks a little bit shaky. Same can kind of be said about the Landorus, but, like, not really. I actually just lied out my face. You have so many things for Landorus. Slowbro, Piloswine, Zapdos. Like, it doesn't actually get much better for that. This game for Jake just gotta be Overwhelm Lando. Why is Mega Venusaur God? Okay, God is a big word. I don't know if it's God, but it is definitely, like, pretty nice here. It doesn't really die to anything. Kind of trades favorably versus a lot. It does cook here. Yeah, it does. I wonder if the Venu just has to be physically defensive, though. Because, like, Fizdef, maybe Sludge Bomb. Could you go Sludge EQ HP Ice? EQ for Klefki, HP Ice for Chomp. Sludge Bomb for everyone else, just poison things. Like the Zapdos. That does seem somewhat reasonable. Like, Piloswine is never breaking you, so you don't need to pack, like, Grass Move for that. Slowbro isn't going to be the initial switch in, so until you reveal all 4, it's never going to come in. I don't know. I wouldn't have predded Violet River if I checked out the matchup. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Klefki is really nice for the Zam as well. How's the Infernape looking? There's a Slowbro and a Chomp. Low-key, Jake might have a pretty solid matchup. Just like the Venusaur, maybe if the Lando clicks the right button, but like the right button is very hard. You know, Leech is probably a bit more value here, not many great swaps for it. And you could run Leech Venusaur, like Leech Synthesis. Who would Violet River bench? Probably Umbreon, right? Just because the mana is kind of ass. And then who else? Alakazam can be good, yeah. You got a Rotom when Klefki comes in, who cares? That is kind of true, yeah. And Rotom Wash could kind of just get free Volt switches, because the ground types obviously don't want to come in. Maybe actually fire up a free Wisp. Like, maybe Violet River can go for like a slower like game plan where you have Leech Venusaur, Wisp Rotom, and then like maybe some helmets here and there, just like kind of wear down Jake's team over time. Could be an AV Bro type matchup, it could be. Definitely could. Bench Umbreon on Zam probably. I don't know, I kind of like Zam, but at the same time, who are you benching over it? Maybe you bench the Granbull and just try to rely on Lando T to check the Garchomp. Like, you have other ways of checking the Garchomp besides Granbull. And Granbull is... I mean, there's a Lop as well, so maybe Granbull is just, like, worth bringing. Yeah, that is a good question. Who do you bench? That's a question for Violet River to answer and not for me. So, good stuff. Yeah. Either way, I'm probably going to go for Jake here. But also, I could see Violet River winning. It's not that bad of a matchup. Like, there's definitely some mons that definitely cook. We'll see. And then the last one for this series is going to be Professor Chipboard versus Rai. Alright. And Rai has been on an absolute tear recently. Like, in the past year, he's like very, very positive in ORAS. Hey guys, no way I lose again, right? You're so right, Faye. You'll never lose. Okay, Garchomp looks pretty bad. Chomp Lando T Bronzong. I mean, that's pretty good into the Chomp, right? You just run HP Ice on the Zong, call it a day. Let's see. Maybe every time Zong comes in, you set a layer with Scarm, so maybe it's not the end of the world. And then you can spin block the Tentacruel with Spiritomb. That could definitely be a play, because, like, where's the Defog? It's only, like, Tentacruel's removal. And Rocks and Spikes being up looks really actually quite bad for Rai. Hold up. So Spikes Scarm. Maybe you go Rocks Garchomp with a Rocky Helmet or something. Maybe Spadef Yachi Berry for the Mega Manectric, although Manectric is not really a big threat here. Plot Nape, Spike Scarm. Yeah, low-key, I could see a lot of ways for Chipboard's team to break past Rise. Nice Fire Resist versus Ape, Scarf Ape. Yeah, Tentacruel as the Fire Resist is always never ideal into Infernape. If it's me, I might be Choice Banded, to be honest. I don't think you really need Scarf necessarily, because the main is not a problem. And if it's Scarf Kyurem, is Scarf Kyurem a big enough threat for you to